Hey guys, what's up? Today we are going to cover the pros and cons of living in Denver, Colorado.
Welcome to the channel, guys. If this is your first time checking out our channel, make sure that you hit the subscribe button below and hit that notification bell. And guys, before we get into it, there should be a number at the bottom of the screen right now. We love getting phone calls and text messages from people who have more questions about moving to Denver and surrounding areas. So if you're thinking about coming here, if you have any questions whatsoever, hit us up. We love hearing from you.
With that being said, we're going to get right into the pros and cons of living in Denver, Colorado. Not only are we local real estate agents, I'm a native. He's just about a native, so I think my opinion matters a little bit more. I'm also a positive guy, so I think we should start with the pros, get right into it, and get you guys excited about it.
Let's do it.
Our first pro on the list, a booming economy here in Denver, Colorado. No, it's not just marijuana. We are going to cover agriculture though, but it's not just marijuana, guys. Anything from aerospace and government contracts to typical agriculture, as well as tech industries, have moved to Denver, Colorado, or are currently moving to Denver, Colorado. So if you're looking for jobs like that, or a work from home type of job, or if you understand economics and how those different industries impact the economy as a whole, great place to live. And get to it later. A little weed. We got a little weed.
We got that too. Yeah, Will's right. It's not just the marijuana. We definitely have a lot of that here. That's actually done a lot for our state in terms of revenue and just popularity. In my opinion, what I think happened is, you know, when we passed marijuana, we made it legal. I think that brought a lot of eyes on Colorado because it was a lot of attention, right? We were the first state to do it. And then what happened, because we had a lot of attention on Colorado, is a lot of these other big finance, tech, aerospace firms, like Will had mentioned, they started looking at Colorado as a place of growth that's kind of trendy, that's not afraid to kind of push limits a little bit. So the attention brought these other major companies here, and now marijuana is actually a small fraction of how much revenue is actually brought into the state from these major industries.
100%, and I think it's just the education behind marijuana and people not just seeing that as some scary drug that just criminals use. Once people, were exposed to it and realized that a lot of professionals just use that for other medicinal reasons or relax reasons, they weren't so scared of it, and they realized that young professionals, middle-aged professionals use it, and they're actually highly successful, brought a lot of business to Colorado.
And number 2 on the pro list, sun's out, guns out, baby. We have a ton of sunny days in Colorado. The weather here is phenomenal. So if you don't like shoveling snow, don't worry. It's going to be melted after a few days.
Snow does stay here, but it stays at altitude where the mountains are at. So if you do like snowboarding or skiing, anything like that, up at altitude, have a blast. However, when you're down here in the metro area, it does snow, it does look pretty, but it doesn't stay long and doesn't create a hindrance when you're trying to commute. Definitely something to look forward to. Most people actually don't know how many sunny days we get here. As high as 245, more than Florida.
Call up 300.
It's awesome. Who doesn't like sun's out, guns out?
That's right. And guys, the summer, talking about heat, it doesn't get that hot. There's usually a few weeks span during the summer where we're pushing 98, 99, maybe topping 100 degrees. Outside of that, it's pretty mild.
To add to that, the humidity is also low. So I think when a lot of people feel super hot, it's when the humidity is even hotter, or even higher, excuse me. But when we do get upwards of 100, Colorado is still primarily a drier state, so it doesn't feel as hot as it might other places. However, be careful, because you are at altitude, you'll get your ass burned. You'll get sunburned. So be careful. Finally, guys, number 3 on the pro list, there is plenty of things to do in Colorado. We just spoke about that a second ago when we were going over weather. Following into that, whether it's concerts, Denver tends to be a main hub for international flights, big concerts, big brands, big venues. Pepsi
Red
Center,
Rocks here.
Red Rocks Amphitheater, Pepsi Center, Coors Field. There's a ton of things to do here, not only on the mega level, but we've got plenty of things to do on the smaller level as far as getting out and mountain biking, going to parks. We always love mentioning dog parks and dogs.
That's right.
Thousands of dog parks, all the way down to dog parks at apartment complexes.
And Denver literally has a kayak to work day. How many cities can say they have that? We have the Platte River that runs through Denver. You see people on inner tubes, kayakers. You can literally kayak to work in Denver. It's pretty hilarious.
I'm a little top heavy. I'm not going under. We ain't doing that.
We'll do a lazy river though. Yeah,
we'll do a lazy river. Yeah. Either way you guys look at it, definitely plenty of things to do to Denver, whether it is a lot of active and outdoor stuff or just recreational or relaxation or going to concerts. Whatever your taste is, there's plenty here for you guys to do. All right, guys, now we are at the cons of living in Denver. First one up.
Cost of living.
Cost of living.
A little expensive out here. However, what you're going to find is that most of that expense is going to go towards your rent or mortgage payment or buying a house, right? Everything else here is pretty much in line with national average as far as utilities, groceries, taxes, that sort of thing.
Correct, and we're only number 35 on the highest cities to live in the United States. So depending on where you're coming from, it might actually be more affordable, which could be a plus, depending on how you're looking at it. Another plus that I like when it comes to cost of living is if you don't mind living a little bit outside of Denver City or Denver County on the outskirts a little bit, you can actually find a lot of great things for some great prices. So keep that in mind if you guys are still interested in Denver. It doesn't have to be extraordinarily expensive for you guys to still have a great place to live and a lot of highways and byways. You can get in and out of Denver several different ways. You can go out and do a lot of different stuff. And believe it or not, Denver, Colorado is not the only place to be. With the mountains and state parks that we have and city parks that we have, plenty of stuff to do out here. You don't necessarily have to live in the heart of Denver to experience Denver and Colorado and everything it has to offer.
Yeah, absolutely. And like we said in our previous cost of living in Denver video, so if you're curious about that specifically, click on that link right up there, or up there, one of those. And we do mention how Denver is kind of built as a hub, right? And then all the cities, all the major cities in Colorado, all sit around Denver like the wheel. So regardless of what city you choose to live in, you're usually 20 to 40 minutes from Denver pretty easily.
Correct.
All right, so number 2 on the con list. Speaking of driving to Denver from outlying cities, our traffic. What does that look like?
It's not terrible. It's a lot more busy than it used to be. Obviously, being a native, you almost being a native, I have a little bit better opinion than you do. It's definitely increased. You definitely have some construction that's going on. Benefit to that is at least the construction for the most part is on the outskirts. So it's when you're going down to the Springs, it's upwards of Fort Collins. Everything as far as construction wise was pretty much ahead of the curve as far as the growth in Denver and what they were expecting. So a lot of these highways and byways have expanded prior to everyone getting here. So yes, there's still some construction and still some traffic through the highways of the city, but it's not as bad as some places that we've seen recently.
Yeah, and that thing really is kind of the blessing in disguise, because fast forward 10 years when there's more and more people here, but some of these major highway projects are done and they're expanded, traffic's not going to be as bad as it is in a lot of places like Southern California. Because we are taking these preventative measures. So it comes with a price, but ultimately it's going to pay off in the end.
All right, guys, number 3 on the con list is the homeless population inside of Denver city limits.
Yeah, and I think this is a conversation that any big city is going to have, but I think we should talk about it here. We do have an increasing population of homeless people in Denver City and Denver County. Now, there was a lot of controversy a couple years ago. We did have a camping ban where you weren't allowed to technically camp on Denver streets. That was controversial and in the media a ton. You may have heard about it, but that got lifted. So what that means is that there's unrestricted rules as far as camping around Denver, aka homeless people hanging out in tents.
As far as Oregon, Southern California population problem, no. However, I think any big city goes through that stuff.
Yeah.
Depending on where you live at, guys, if you do live in the heart of Denver or downtown Denver, you might experience a little bit of that. If you live on the outskirts or in suburbia or in the county of Denver where you still have single family homes, obviously with Eli and I being in real estate, we're in and out a lot. We see a lot of homes. We drive a lot. I personally haven't been affected from it. So as far as things being a deal breaker for you not wanting to move to Denver, I don't consider them one. I consider some of the weather, some other things maybe a little bit more prevalent, but it's something to consider, and it's obviously something to just keep in mind if you are commuting downtown or if you're walking at night downtown. Just some things to consider that you have to be aware of. I don't think it's at a point where it's a deal breaker. All right, guys, there you have it. Our top 3 pros and our top 3 cons as far as living in Denver. However, it wouldn't be fair to just leave it at those. There are a couple that kind of slide right into the middle that could be a pro or could be a con, depending on how you see it. So we figured we'd throw you guys a couple to just think about and put some thought to. Number 1 on our bonus round that could be a pro or a con: marijuana, weed, right?
We mentioned it earlier. We definitely wanted to make sure that we had this as a bullet point of its own. It's a huge thing for Denver, right? Denver's kind of known as the marijuana hotspot. We were the first state to legalize it, and we've kind of been leading the way as far as the laws and regulations and how taxes can be applied to the state. So, that being said, it's not for everybody, but the good thing is it's not around everywhere. You can go buy it in certain places, but you can't consume it in public.
Correct. So long story short, here's what you need to know as far as marijuana. Yes, it's legal to purchase and consume. No, it's not legal to consume in public. So as far as people walking around, like an open container law, you can't just walk around with a 40-ounce of beer and just show that to everybody while you're drinking. Same thing with marijuana. People in their front yards or walking down the street or driving, anything like that, you're not going to see. Or if you do see it, it's illegal. You don't see it very much. As far as when you guys are looking for a place to stay, as much as we do real estate and all the homes and apartments we go into, maybe twice I've smelt it to where it was just super obvious and I would not have lived there wherever we were showing some clients. Super rare. Again, if that's a deal breaker for you guys, I don't think moving to Colorado, I wouldn't let that be a deal breaker. If you're like me and marijuana is not quite your thing, believe it or not, it's not that prevalent. If you're not looking for it, depending on where you live, you might not even notice that it's here. And no, there's no cloud over Denver that looks like marijuana.
Now, let me issue a quick disclaimer here. If you're planning on visiting Denver or you're going to move to Denver and you've never tried marijuana and you want to start experimenting with it,
call Eli.
Do not start with the edibles. Everyone here thinks,
the
edibles would be a great place to start. No, terrible idea. They're super strong, even for veteran smokers. Edibles can be a little bit too much.
However, Eli is not a licensed physician, nor is he giving you any advice above a moronic level. Do you? Have a good time. Finally, guys, our last bonus piece, definitely something that I think is important to talk about, and something that you might not know about Denver. We are kind of like a melting pot. So when it comes to pop culture and politics, religion, sexual orientation, a lot of different things. We've got influence from Texas for sure here. We've got New York and some hip hop and some streetwear culture here. We've also got influence from upper Northwest and California. So with that being said, what I'm trying to paint a picture of, guys, is we have a lot of culture and diversity here. And believe it or not, it makes a lot of people friendly and okay with just people being different. So if you have beliefs or a lifestyle that's different than others, we have yet personally to see a lot of extreme behavior that come out of those. I was a police officer for a long time here in Colorado. We don't get a lot of outstanding just violence or riots based on a specific point of view or an issue. So if you guys love kind people, if you love expressing who you are and being open and enjoying the outdoor life, along with just being comfortable in your own skin, we tend to be very accepting of just diversity.
Oh, yeah, 100%. And guys, what he said, the biggest thing that I noticed when I first moved to Colorado about 20 years ago was how kind people were. And I came from the Midwest too, where people are generally nice. But when I came to Colorado, I noticed for the most part, people will hold the door for you. They'll say thank you when you hold the door for them. It's just a very kind and polite atmosphere, which was one thing that I really loved when I moved here.
Correct, and a perfect example. Eli used to be a drummer, a musician in a band, and loves his marijuana. And I was in the Marine Corps, and I was a cop.
Yep.
But here we are, being real estate brokers together, living happy, doing happy stuff and happy business. We're probably the odd couple. Who would have thought? However, it's a prime example of just people being okay to just different stuff and having fun and just being more in tune with who they are as people versus what everybody else thinks of it. So definitely something, maybe more of a pro.
Yeah.
Depending on how you look at it. But definitely some food for thought, guys. If you found this video valuable, please click subscribe. Please share this with your friends. We've got a ton of other videos on this channel if you guys need more information. Obviously, for the 10th time I've said it, we are real estate brokers here in Colorado. If you have specific questions to your real estate needs or just any specific questions logistically on some other stuff here, please feel free to reach out to that direct phone number that you guys see on the screen. We would love to help you guys.